So we are expecting to learn more about a special grand jury's investigation into former President Donald Trump. The grand jurors in Georgia were assigned to look into alleged efforts to overturn the 2020 election results. Now, Trump has denied any wrongdoing. So for more on this, I want to bring in Tia Mitchell. She's a Washington correspondent for the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. Great to talk to you again. So my first question is a little bit twofold. I want to remind people of some of the things that brought us to this point, what the president did. And, you know, a judge approved the release of parts of the report earlier. So, like, what portions are we expecting to be able to see?
Well, the step back is all about, of course, the 2020 general election. And President Donald Trump and his allies were very active in Georgia, did not believe that Joe Biden carried Georgia, despite evidence, despite the election outcome, recounts, audits that confirmed Biden carried Georgia. President Trump and his allies just did not want to accept it. So he really did a full-on onslaught. He had allies like his attorney, Rudy Giuliani, Martin Meadows were coming to Georgia, meeting with Republican elected officials. They spread a lot of accusations and misinformation about how elections in Georgia were carried out. And so what the Fulton County District Attorney is doing is investigating to see if any of those actions rise to the level of a crime. Mm-hmm. And she impaneled this special grand jury to do its own fact-finding, subpoena witnesses, and it came up with this report that it then gave to the district attorney, Fani Willis. That report, as we understand it, does specifically say, here's who we think should be charged, and here's what we think they should be charged with.
But we won't see that.
We won't see that. What we're going to get today is 3 parts of that report only. The rest of it will remain under seal to protect due process as DA Willis determines who to charge. Mm-hmm. So we're going to hear the introduction, the conclusion. Then there's a section where the special grand jury says they believe some of the witnesses lied to them. That section won't include any names. So we don't know really how specific that section will be or what we'll be able to glean as far as who they think lied to them or why they think they were lied to as a grand jury who, we're speaking to people under subpoena, under threat of perjury.
So, Tia, did the judge explain why these portions will be available and others won't?
Yes, it's all about due process. So DA Willis had argued against releasing any of the report. She says it could compromise her ability to not only bring charges, but to have a successful trial. You know, she's worried about defendants saying they weren't given a fair shot because too much information about the investigation was put out into the public beforehand. So she made a due process argument. And the judge mostly sided with her. Now, there were media like the Atlanta Journal-Constitution and other major media outlets who argued the public's right to know and said, let's release it all. The judge mostly disagreed and said, we're going to wait on releasing the whole report. That doesn't mean it won't eventually be released in full, but that is likely to now come after Willis decides who to indict and possibly after all those criminal proceedings wrap up, which could take some time.
Well, Tia, I know you're going to be all over whatever they release when it comes out later today, I think, and so will I. Tia Mitchell, thank you very much.
Thank you.